Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is Lakshman. In this video, I am going to share most popular microservice architecture entry questions and answers for experienced Java developers. So if you really like this video, please share to your friends also. It might be helpful. So without wasting our time, let's start with the first question. The first question is, what is monolithic architecture? Monolithic architecture is nothing but a traditional architecture which contains all the services and components of an application as a single package. I can say in simple words, so the way of maintaining all the services that are offered by an application in a single package. Okay, so let me tell you an example, then you can understand the definition. Let's take one example for e-commerce application which provides different services like user registration, searching for products, payments and purchase, reviews and feedbacks, etc. So to maintain all these services as a single package and store them in a same server and same database. This type of architecture is nothing but monolithic architecture. Okay, so this architecture which is generally followed by almost every organization before introduction of microservices. The next question is, what is microservice architecture? A microservice architecture is a logical structure for design of the software program. It is a small, loosely coupled and distributed service. So it is used to build applications as collection of multiple independent services which are loosely coupled. So it is nothing but decomposing the application into various modules which are independent of each other. So the main advantage of microservices is that the module can be independently deployed. So the team size of developers is very less, so that deployment is very fast. So there is no need of working with single technology for the entire application as like a monolithic architecture. So various technologies can be used to build the application and it makes developers to comfortably work as their interest. You can take the same e-commerce example with the use of microservices. So the services can be divided into various groups and it makes the developer teams easy to maintain and deploy. So these microservices can communicate with each other synchronously with REST API over HTTP. So the main advantage of microservices is the individual services can be programmed in different languages. Okay, that is nothing but microservice architecture. The next question is, what are the advantages and disadvantages of microservices? Now let's talk about advantages. With microservices, we can use any type of technologies like libraries, frameworks and database based on the project requirement. The second advantage is large project break down into small services. So smaller code base is easy to maintain and deployable. If any service or process failures, it should not bring whole system down. Okay. The next advantage is, so it is a independent deployment and also deployment time is reduced. Now let's talk about disadvantages. So it is a distributed system, so it is hard to debug and trace the issue. The next disadvantage is, it is whenever you are doing end-to-end testing, it is very difficult to handle end-to-end testing because it is a distributed system. And one more smaller disadvantage is deployment challenges also there whenever we are going to deploy the service. Okay. The next question is, what are the tools we can use for managing a microservice architecture in real time? So there are different tools we are using in real time for to build or manage a microservice architecture. For database purpose, we are using MongoDB. So it is a document-based open source distributed database. So here data is stored in the JSON format with a different structure for different documents. So this database supports a lot of programming languages like C++, C Sharp, Java, Python, PHP, Ruby, Scala, etc. The next tool is Kafka. So Kafka is an event queue system. That means whenever you are doing transaction, all transactions are processed via the event queue, thus avoiding the web like random interactions between different services. So Kafka renders a microservice architecture robust and clean. The next tool is Jenkins. So it is a popular tool for continuous integration and continuous deployment. Okay, so it supports many plugins and easily integrates with almost every tool. So it is one of the best automation tool in IT market nowadays. The next one is Docker. So this is the application development environment and application deployment environment are bound to vary in many aspects. So this gives rise to deployment issues. So Docker provides a static background for the application to run, thus avoiding deployment issues. We are using Docker. Next tool is Kubernetes. So with thousands of services running in an application, Kubernetes as an engine orchestrates the entire process. So we are using one search engine also, Elasticsearch tool. So it is a full text search engine. And one more tool is Fluent. So in a multi-service architecture where all the different systems are managed via different programming language, different database, and run in different operating systems, logging and keeping tracking of it is very significant issue. So Fluent provides a single logging layer and simplifies this issue. So logs can be also be collected and aggregated onto a data source. That's the reason Fluent is very much used tool in microservice architecture. There is one more tool are also there, Geogger. So it is an open source end-to-end distributed tracing tool. So Geogger monitors distributed transaction, helps in performance optimization and finds the dependencies between services, and it also gives the root cause analysis. The next question is, what is the use of Docker? Docker offers a container environment which can be used to host any application. This software application and the dependencies that support it, which are tightly packaged together. The next question is, explain 3 types of tests for microservices. In microservice architecture, tests are divided into 3 categories. At the bottom level test, we can perform a general test like performance and a unit test. So these kind of tests are entirely automated. At the middle level, we can perform exploratory test like the stress testing and usability test. At the top level, we can conduct acceptance test, which are mostly fewer in numbers. It also helps stakeholders to know about different software features. The next question is, how independent microservices communicate with each other? So this is one of the most frequent asked entry question. How independent microservices communicate with each other? So it depends upon your project needs. However, in most cases, developers use HTTP or REST with JSON or binary protocol. However, they can use any communication protocol. The next question is, how to handle fault tolerance in microservices? In a distributed environment, many services dependencies will fail. So here we are using one library, that is Hystrix. Hystrix is a library that helps you to control the interactions between these distributed services by adding latency tolerance and fault tolerance logic. So Hystrix does this by isolating points of access between the services, stopping cascading failures across them, and providing fallback options. So all of which improves your system's overall resiliency. The next question is how to do distributed tracking in microservices. Spring Cloud Silhouette implements a distributed tracing solution for Spring Cloud from Dapr, Zipkin, and Htrace. With Eureka naming service, the request may go to any instance and it becomes very difficult to trace the logs. To overcome this issue, Spring Cloud provides the Spring Silhouette. One request will travel from different applications to process and it becomes very difficult to trace the logs as they will be logged in different log files with no common identifier to identify the request. So Spring Cloud Silhouette helps us by adding an identifier to all the logs. Why we are using Joule Gateway in microservices? Joule uses a range of different types of filters that enables us to quickly and apply functionality to our edge services. These filters help us performing these type of functions. The first one is authentication and security. So identifying authentication requirements for each resource and rejecting requests that do not satisfy them. The next functionality is insights and monitoring. So tracking meaningful data and statistics at the edge in order to give us an accurate view of production. The next functionality is dynamic routing, dynamically routing requests to different backend clusters as needed. Next one is stress testing. So gradually increasing the traffic to a cluster in order to gauge performance. Next one is load shedding, allocating capacity for each type of request and dropping requests that go over the limit. Next question is static response handling. So building some responses directly at the edge instead of forwarding them to an internal cluster. So in these scenarios, we are using Joule Gateway in microservices. The next question is what is the entry point for microservices? Joule is the front door for all requests from devices and websites to the back end of the Netflix streaming application. As an edge service application, Joule is built to enable dynamic routing, monitoring, resiliency, and security. It also has the ability to route requests to multiple Amazon auto-scaling groups as appropriate. The next question is what is an Eureka in microservices? Eureka is alternatively known as the Netflix Service Discovery Server. It uses Spring Cloud and is not heavy on the application development process. The next question is how will you balance the server-side load by utilizing Spring Cloud? The server-side load balancing can be done by using Netflix Joule. It is also known as a JVM based router. Next question is when will you see fit to use the Netflix Hystrix? Hystrix is an error tolerance and latency library. So it is mainly isolates the access points. It also makes sure that all third-party libraries and services are restricted. Thus, we can use Hystrix to ensure that an application runs efficiently and avoids the kind of failures that occur in distributed systems. The next question is what is the role of RESTful APIs in microservices? A microservice is based on the concept where all its component services requires to interact with one another to complete the business functionality. So this requires each microservice to have an interface. So RESTful API provides a logical model for building these interfaces. So it is based on the open networking principle of the web. Thus, it serves the most critical enabler of microservices. The next question is, what is client-side load balancing in microservices? So Ribbon is a client-side load balancer that gives you a lot of control over the behavior of HTTP and TCP clients. So Ribbon is an inter-process communication library with a built-in software load balancer. So the primary usage model involves REST calls with various serialization schema support. So these are the friends most asked microservices architecture entry questions for experienced candidate. So I hope you enjoying this video. So if you really like this video, please hit the like button and also share to your friends. It might be helpful for your colleagues. So thank you for watching.